Hi, I'm Eric Friedman. I'm the Executive Director of the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce, and we're here for the next episode of Tailgate Talks. And we're speaking today with Misha Golfman, who is the Executive Director of the Mad River Path. Welcome to the Tailgate, my friend.
Hey.
Oh, hold it. You back off, man.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Yeah, this is my tailgate, not
Yeah.
your tailgate, okay? I get to hold this thing.
Awesome. Well, that's a great. Thank you for welcoming me. I feel really welcome.
Do you? It's pretty interesting sitting out here, right? You like the old Datsun,
I love the old Datsun.
right?
It was my first truck was the old Datsun.
Yeah, what year did you have?
I rolled it over on Interstate 93. I rolled over 3 times. I don't remember what year it was, but I bought it for $400.
Well, this is a 72, and I paid $250 for it. I had to go down to West Virginia to get it, though.
Nice.
Kind of looks it, right?
Nice truck. Yes.
Well, we're here today to talk about our new toilet for the Rec Hub here. You want to give us a little bit of background on how this thing came about?
All right, here we are at the very first resource recovery toilet in Mad River Valley, and a really collaborative project that came about through working together with a lot of different entities. So we at the Rec Hub, and there's clearly was a need identified that we need to have an outdoor bathroom, and
As opposed to just the woods.
as opposed to just the woods, right?
Right.
It's a Rec Hub. Yep. First, it was, of course, thought of as typical solution of portalets, and then we were talking about it one day with Eric and said, wait a minute, wouldn't it be nice for us to move beyond the portalets? We all know that it's not the most pleasant experience. We also know that portalets get emptied into the wastewater treatment plant in Burlington and eventually make their way down to Lake Champlain in the form of phosphorus that causes that cyanobacteria bloom that we all love to swim in. So we looked at the options, and then it just happens that here in
Whoa, we're getting a little tipsy here.
starting to move, huh? We met with a organization in Burlington called Wasted. They were pioneering at a time urine recovery portalets. First step was to join forces with them and change many portalets in the valley.
Yeah, and I think people might not realize that, with the orange ones that we see at the LaRue Swim Hall and down at Bridge Street, that they were the Stewart MRV portalets. That's how we started working with those. Pretty cool.
And with those, we are able to recover all the urine and send it to the fertilizer plant in South Burlington, where it's made in a legitimate fertilizer that goes to the farms. So that's 80% of the waste.
Right.
And through the Wasted, we learned about a new technology, a conveyor belt toilet that allows us to recover 100% of all the waste and turn it all into nutrients. So we studied this. We went to sites where the installations already were done. Over 1,000 installations are done in Europe and over 400 in the Western United States. We felt confident that we can give it a try. A bunch of fundraising happened through the Rotary and through Mad River Path and
Stewart MRV.
Stewart MRV.
Yeah. Actually, there's one other thing we have to remember. You know who also donated? We got a bunch of money from from the folks at Green Mountain at Waitsville Champlain Valley Telecom, the grant program with the rural telecommunications organization that they work with. They bought the toilet for us.
Nice. So a lot of people pitched right in, and then one day we were talking with the folks at Yestermorrow about their community design building program, and they were interested. And so that's how it all came together. With the Mad River Path, we made a preliminary design and put in a foundation. I taught a class to Yestermorrow on the importance of coming with new ways of ecological sanitation and removing the water out of the equation. Because, of course, when we mix the precious drinking water with the precious nutrients that are contained in our pee and poop, we're creating a toxic soup and wasting both resources. So students were really inspired. They designed a beautiful building. They worked so hard. There was a beautiful site. They designed and built the most beautiful structure, and then more volunteers came in. Brad Cook volunteered to do plumbing. Charlie Hosford here been working away.
Charlie, he's been doing a lot of stuff on toilets in the valley for a long time, hasn't he?
Charlie loves the toilets, and once he was sold on this idea, he just put all his ingenuity and skills into it. So we are ready to open it. This is going to be open tomorrow. You should all come and give us your pee and poop. And should we take a look at the details, Eric?
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the toilet itself.
Without looking at it?
Yeah, well, we're not going to look at it. It's going to be showing up behind us.
Sure. Well, the toilet is a French-made Ecomodeo toilet. Completely different idea.
That's right. It's French, so it has that certain je ne sais quoi.
It absolutely does. Yeah, it is French. And it has a belt, conveyor belt, like your elevator, or like your, what are those called when you go up the escalators in the airport? So it's inclined. So when you go to the bathroom, the pee rolls down with gravity, and it goes into the holding tank.
Right.
And the poop stays on the conveyor belt, and then you pump the pedal, and poop moves up the conveyor belt and into the container. Now, poop without pee represents only 20% of all the waste, and dry poop, at least in theory, and this is where our learning has to come, has a pretty ideal carbon to nitrogen ratio necessary for thermophilic or hot composting to happen. When those conditions are achieved, when we have heat-loving bacteria and the right carbon and nitrogen ratio and good temperatures, and you'll see that the holding chamber, it has a see-through top, and it heats up to 90, 100 degrees. It also has really good ventilation. So now we have presence of oxygen, presence of thermophilic bacteria, and lots of heat, and the absence of moisture. It is actually that putrid mix of pee and poop that stinks. The poop by itself, devoid of liquids, should be, and this is where the experimental nature of this project comes in, should not smell. You
used a lot of big words, Misha. So for like us lay people, I like to think of it as like when the dog poops out on the grass and there's no moisture there and it just dries up really quickly. That's kind of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, we are kind of like the only mammal that pees and poops at the same time. Most of others do it in separate ways, and the toilet is designed to work with our anatomy and with this physiology to separate the pee and poop. And once separated, the pee is legit fertilizer. You could further remove the remove the phosphorus from it, and have a nitrogen-rich fertilizer and a separate phosphorus fertilizer. And then poop, when properly composted off-site, could turn into rich soil that is fully decomposed, doesn't have any pathogens and any bacteria in it, and this could be used as a soil amendment.
It's amazing. And so what we're hoping, with the Stewart MRV program is that if this this experiment works, ideally we would like to get rid of all of the other portalets in the valley, so that we can, we could have no waste coming out.
And not only that, we could repurpose waste, save thousands and thousands of gallons of water, prevent pollution to our waterways. In the long term, this is also a very economical solution, because rental of portable toilets is an ongoing expense.
Yeah, and not to mention the carbon footprint of the trucks driving around and picking them up, and so that it's a win-win-win in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, and in this particular case, the urine removal would be very infrequent. We have a 300-gallon holding tank. So
that's a lot of pee.
So that's a lot of pee. Yeah.
And it was interesting too. When I was talking to the Wasted folks earlier on Green Up Day, when we really got this thing going, we started talking about it. I was surprised that that the fertilizer is actually powder, and that's the end product. I thought it was going to end up being liquid.
Well, there are two fertilizers. One is powder, and
Okay.
that's phosphorus, and the other one is the liquid, and it's nitrogen.
Okay.
Rich fertilizer.
And will there be two byproducts from the process, or is it just how they do it?
Well, it all depends on the soils. So the reason they separate phosphorus and nitrogen is if there are different amendments needed for different soil types. That's why they make two different fertilizers.
So tell me a little bit about the building structure. I mean, I was involved with you when we started talking with the Yes Tomorrow people and coming up with the design. It's a pretty unique structure. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Yestermorrow collaborative design process where we gave them parameters such as saying it needs to be handicap accessible. Here's the size shape of a toilet, and that's where it needs to fit. It needs to have natural lighting, all sorts of parameters like this. And then we had a sloping site, which is what we were looking for. So we can have a service chamber below the toilet chamber. And I loved the process, which started by actually teaching students how to work together and how to make collaborative decisions, coming up with a kind of a constitution of agreeing on how you work together. And then they started working together. Everyone's voices were heard. There was a lot of input. There was a lot of modeling. And what they came up with was phenomenal and really beautiful. And we have a building that's, much more beautiful than we ever thought we could imagine.
For sure. And it's a heck of a lot better than going into one of those portalettes, right?
Yeah, it shows the power of collaboration. When we really learn how do we work together, what comes out of it is way more than each one of us individually can come up with.
Yeah, I really see this as such a big component of the whole Vorak project here with the recreation hub and the bridge over here and the parking lot and the new trail hub for the Mad River Path. I mean, I think this really typifies what our community is all about. And you said not just the collaboration, but that forward thinkingness and really thinking things through. You know, and the big part, the CRV, the recreational visioning project. I mean, this fits into so much of what we're talking about with that.
Yeah, and it's really phenomenal. Like right after this interview, I'm gonna go and work with the Mad River Riders to help them finish the bridge. And then yesterday I was meeting here with the Friends of the Mad River who were planting the trees, and the Mad River Path goes in amongst those trees. And there was a person who owns this land, John Morris, who is wholeheartedly giving opportunities to all of us. And it is such a fantastic private public partnership, giving opportunity for so much creativity and so many organizations practicing how to work together.
Yeah, it's really awesome the way, John Morris says we couldn't have done any of this without having a willing landowner, and that's been, such invaluable to this whole project, for the Vorak project generally. And I mean, he didn't bat an eye when we started talking about doing this off-grid toilet, right?
Oh, for sure. They could have. That's the value of working with people who, when you have an idea, you have an option. You could either look at opportunity and what it could do, or you could look for all the reasons why it shouldn't be done. And what I find here in the Mad River Valley, there's a critical mass of folks who are thinking for why should things be done rather than why we shouldn't be doing this. Of course, having all of us agreed to put this experimental structure here in the center of the valley. We haven't even finished it. We already had the Vermont Huts Association looking at this. We had the Forest Service looking at this. So we're doing it for the valley, but it's also a model. It's a model that could be and will be, if we are successful, replicated elsewhere.
Yeah, it's really exciting that the Mad River Valley, yet again, at the cutting edge of a lot of different things.
Go Mad River Valley.
You got it, my friend. And we're really glad that you're here. You just moved here fairly recently and took over executive director of the Mad River Path. How's that been going for you? You been enjoying your time here in the valley?
I love it, Eric. It's I look forward to waking up every morning and biking to work.
Well, we're just loving having you here too. You've added so much energy to the community and some great ideas, and you're certainly a doer. That's for sure, and we're really appreciative of having you. And it's exciting what's going on with the path. And I must say, it's been really exciting to be working with you. Is there anything else about the project here that we haven't talked about? I think we've got most of it, right?
Yeah, go show it to the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. And
demonstration.
yeah, well, let's. Yeah, we'll show how it works. I got to get chocks for this thing.
I thought it's part of the show.
No, exactly. Yeah, you got it's like pratfalls and things. No, it's been really great having you. It's been so enjoyable to be collaborating with you and the other members of the Vorak folks, and all the other Vorak partners. And this has been great, and it's really cool. We've been working on this for a long time with your predecessor, Ross, and to see this all come to fruition, it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and we definitely should give Ross a credit because I had the privilege to implement what was envisioned and planned for a long time before me. So I want to thank Ross and everybody who came before me to make this happen.
Well, Misha, thanks so much for joining us on the Tailgate. Really appreciate it, and we'll come back and do another one of these and talk more about the Vorak project generally.
Thanks, Eric.
Have a great one.